To what extent do you feel that what Israel is facing is not simply an issue of Arab or Palestinian, but it's really a jihadist movement, which is part of the entire ISIS phenomenon and the extreme Muslim ideology, which is creating terror throughout the world? To what extent should American Jews see what Israel is facing in its conflict with the Palestinians as part of that larger issue?
So I use the word jihad on purpose because I don't want to use the word Arab, okay, or even Muslim, because the truth is that we, even in Hebron, which is considered, one of the more extreme of the settlements, or what we call, kind of courageous Jews living in an ancestral Jewish homeland, we have many Arab friends who do not agree with the jihadist mentality, who are looking to get rid of even the Palestinian Authority, see Israeli sovereignty come back over that area. We have Arabs and Muslims who think differently. But the jihad is very strong right now. The jihad is a kind of an ideological virus. It's an idea. It's not a race. It's not an ethnicity. It's an idea. But it infects, or the people that are susceptible to it are Muslim Arabs. Through classic Islamic values sneaks in this idea of jihad. And so there is jihadism in Hebron. There is jihadism in East Jerusalem. Places like East Sawiya are just simply full of jihad. It's called Hamas. It's labeled a liberation movement, but in fact it is a supremacist movement. And it doesn't.
What's their goal?
Their goal is to get rid of folks who are not like them, Jews being just one of them. If they're Kurds, if they're Yazidis, if they're a Muslim who says, you know what, I don't think this Israel is so bad after all, that's who's going to get it. So they're supremacist against anybody who doesn't think like them, Jews being just one of the groups. In the Middle East, there's two kinds of minorities: armed minorities and unarmed minorities. So if you're a Copt or a Yazidi, you're just on the run. And they'll either push you out or take your head off, or you'll just leave. You'll get on a plane and go. Or there's armed minorities like the Kurds and the Jews who refuse to be bullied and want to stay there and basically push back on the bullies. And that's a very Jewish trait, I think. So right now, with regard to American Jews, yeah, we have to understand that what was once in the 40s, 50s, and 60s a jihadism that was based on secular nationalism, today secular nationalism isn't in place. ISISization, which is a kind of global jihadist caliphate-style movement, very intolerant, uses classic Middle Ages type violence to achieve its goals, and it's proud of it and makes sure that it gets seen on TV. They are the milieu. And the only way to stop it is to send them a signal that they will not achieve their goals with us, and that we know how to use violence, directed, pointed violence against those forces to push them back. We will not be moved.
Mm-hmm. You speak Arabic?
A bissel.
You learned this as a child, yes?
Yeah.
You have Arab friends?
I can't say I have Arab friends. I have Arab acquaintances, and I have also Arab colleagues. When I mean colleagues is that Arabs will meet with me. You would be surprised, Mark. You would be surprised.
I'm sure. Tell us.
Well, I wish I could tell you everything, but the fact is that if I told you everything, their life would be in danger. There are many Arabs.
Isn't that a tragedy?
It is an absolute tragedy.
That very fact is a tragedy.
They live in a, again, supremacist society. A large part of their society has a supremacist element. Again, not against just Jews, against people like them. Muftis, equivalent of rabbis, who are actually saying things like, it's against Islam to fight with Israel, Allah's with the Jews, it's against Islam not to recognize the fact that the Jewish people are going to come back to the land of Israel. There are such statements even in the Quran, and fighting the Jews has only led to our own civilizational collapse. Let's stop it. But they're asking us for help, fiscal, security, media, every kind of help we can give them, but they live in fear. Okay, so I have Arab colleagues. I can't be friendly with them. I can't be friends with them on a regular basis because we live in this, we meet clandestinely, and we do our best in a 2-3 hour meeting to get a lot done. But I hang with Arabs. Mm-hmm. Even in Hebron, there is a young Arab named Muhammad, who basically is my interlocutor. He does my job on the jihadist side. Yes, he's an on the mildly jihadist, but certainly anti-Israel side in Hebron. Yet I sit with him and we have coffee and we talk, and I try to make inroads with him, and I tell him, do you really want your son to one day, be a jihadist stabber and to lose his life? And he says to me, of course not. And yet at the same time, he says, I'm ready to die for Al-Aqsa. So we have these very real intense on-the-street conversations. But let's put it this way, to answer your question, we're not so distant. We're neighbors. We see each other in the streets. It's not a warm peace, but there's a kind of détente that exists right now on the streets until things go down, until somebody comes out who is a jihadist, and then all hell breaks loose.